The words "one nation under God" are so familiar that most Americans can recite them without thinking. They sit at the heart of the Pledge of Allegiance, spoken in classrooms, stadiums, and civic gatherings for generations. Yet behind those four simple words lies a story of history, tension, and deep spiritual meaning that many have never fully considered. The earliest version of the pledge appeared in 1885, written by Captain George Thacher Balch, a Union Army officer who wanted to instill patriotism in the children of a nation still healing from Civil War. A few years later, in 1892, a Baptist pastor named Francis Bellamy revised and expanded it to promote the upcoming World's Fair. His version was simpler and more poetic. "I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all." Notice what was missing. There was no mention of God. Bellamy, who strongly believed in the separation of church and state, intentionally left any reference to the divine out of the pledge. For decades, that wording remained largely unchanged. Congress officially adopted it in 1942 as America entered World War II. Then came 1954. The world had changed. The nation that had just defeated the Axis powers now faced a new and chilling threat: the rise of atheistic communism. The Cold War was intensifying. Many Americans feared that a materialist, godless ideology was spreading across the globe and threatening the very foundations of freedom. President Dwight D. Eisenhower, responding to that fear and to a growing national desire for spiritual clarity, signed legislation that added the words "under God" to the Pledge of Allegiance. The change was deliberate. It was a public declaration that America was not merely a political experiment, but a nation that acknowledged a higher authority. In the face of systems that denied God's existence, the United States chose to reaffirm that its people stood one nation under God. The phrase became a quiet but powerful statement of trust, that ultimate protection and unity do not come from human strength alone, but from the God who holds the nations in his hands. Is it wrong for a Christian to pledge allegiance to the country in which they live? The Bible does not forbid it. In fact, Scripture repeatedly calls believers to be good citizens. Jesus himself said, "Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." The Apostle Paul instructed the church to submit to governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God. Titus was told to remind believers to be ready for every good work and to be obedient to rulers. Unity within a nation is a good and virtuous thing when that nation does not demand what God forbids. Patriotism, rightly understood, can reflect a grateful heart for the blessings of ordered liberty and the freedom to worship. Yet the Bible also draws a clear line. Our ultimate allegiance is never to any earthly flag or government. It belongs to God alone. His word is the final authority over every other claim on our lives. When the laws of a nation align with righteousness, we honor them. When they contradict the clear commands of Scripture, we must obey God rather than men. The Christian's first citizenship is in heaven. Earthly citizenship is real and important, but it is secondary. That is why the phrase "one nation under God" carries such weight. It is not merely a patriotic slogan. It is a reminder that true national unity finds its strongest foundation when a people acknowledge the God who created them, who holds them accountable, and who alone can protect them from destructive forces, whether those forces are external armies or internal ideologies that deny his existence. In a culture that increasingly treats faith as optional or even suspect, the words still challenge us. They call believers to live in such a way that the unity of God's people becomes visible. Jesus prayed that his followers would be one. Paul urged the church to be of the same mind and to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. When Christians in any nation live with that kind of shared devotion to Christ, the ideal of one nation under God becomes more than a phrase. It becomes a lived reality that points beyond the nation itself to the King of Kings. The Pledge of Allegiance invites citizens to stand together. The gospel invites believers to stand under the authority of the living God. The two are not in conflict when properly ordered. We can love our country, serve it faithfully, and pray for its leaders, while never forgetting that our deepest loyalty belongs to the one who will one day receive the allegiance of every nation. One nation under God is not a claim of perfection. It is a call to humility, unity, and trust. And for those who belong to Christ, it is a reminder that the God who watches over the nations is the same God who holds our eternal future securely in His hands. If this message challenged you, take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments. What does one nation under God mean to you as a Christian? And if you want more Bible-centered videos that connect Scripture, history, and the world we live in, subscribe to Awaiting Christ's Return and join us as we continue watching and waiting for the return of Jesus Christ. Maranatha.